Welcome back to my channel. I'm SpookyLith.
The earth
This is
still
Earth
spinning,
Spinning,
but I wish it would stop and let me off right now.
a song by SpookyLith,
The earth still spinning, but I wish it would stop and let me off right now.
available on this website
The
right
earth
here.
still spinning, but I wish it would stop and let me off right now. The earth still spinning, but I wish it would stop and let me off right now. I told you before, but I don't think you paid it much attention. I tried to warn you before, you didn't think it was worth a mention. I tried to tell you everything, you didn't want to hear it. I could understand you were always headstrong and ready. Knew you'd move on eventually. I just pray you don't forget me. I just want you to know it meant the world. I just wanted you to know. The earth's still spinning, but I wish it would stop and let me off right now. The earth's still spinning, but I wish it would stop and let me off right now. What more can I say? You were worth a lot more than you thought. I couldn't understand your low self-esteem, but I guess looks aren't everything, and you had them all, I swear it. I just wish that you could see what everyone else saw, then maybe things would be different. I swear I had the chance to even tell you, but I missed it. I always do, I always did. I only hope you find yourself in a happier place, cause Lord knows you experienced a crappier fate. The earth's still spinning, but I wish it would stop and let me off right now. The earth's still spinning, but I wish it would stop and let me off right now. The earth's still spinning, but I wish it would stop and let me off right now. The earth's still spinning, but I wish it would stop and let me off right now.
So that was Earth Spinning, a song by yours truly. It's quite a dark song. It's a song about, feeling like even though you're sort of down, feeling low, the earth still spins, everything still goes and ticks forward, and you just kind of like, I wish I could just put a pin in it. But the earth keeps spinning, and that's how it goes. So that's a song by me. I've got plenty more songs on my webpage. That's zerobookings.bandcamp.com. I'll leave a link in the description. I hope you enjoyed. But yeah, welcome back. Today we're going to be covering a bunch of topics. I've got a few things lined up in my notepad over here somewhere. So today we're going to be talking about a few things. First subject's going to be about the gaming industry. We're going to have a quick Starfield review. We're going to talk a bit about the gaming industry right now and just some of the things going on. We're going to touch upon that briefly because I don't want to get political, and video games unfortunately have become very political. And the thing with being political, like basically, politics is a way to kind of dictate how those around you and other people should live, right? And personally, I'm not really the kind of person who fancies themselves to tell other people how to live. In fact, I believe people should be free to live however they choose to live. Within the law, and I understand that the law is political, of course, but, when I say under the law, I just mean under the sort of the societal, the basics, don't kill, don't steal, don't fuck with. Like, I believe there's a law that we could all follow, actually, that would just solve the biggest problem that a lot of people have, and that is the simple law of minding your own business. And if people could follow that law, then we would have a lot less bullshit going on out there. But jokes aside, yeah, I understand that the law is political, and again, who are we to dictate how each other should live? But I think if we just keep in mind the basics, not killing each other, not stealing from each other, not beating each other up in the streets, just the general societal laws that we all follow, they're not going to change anytime soon, are they? They're not up for debate. So those laws, as long as we're following those not for debate laws, then I think people should be free to do basically whatever they want. I don't feel a strong urge or need to tell people how to live. So therefore, politics isn't my most favorite subject. That's as much as I can really say about that. Let me just open up a beer very loudly. So yeah, trying to stray away from politics. We're going to move on from the gaming industry. We're going to start talking about psychedelics. We're going to talk about sort of some of my experiences with them and what I kind of found with them. And then, because I just love that subject, I think it's worth talking about. And then after that, we're going to move on to sort of spirituality and sort of my views towards spirituality, or how I kind of view everything, and kind of just cover the grounds there. I don't have anything spooky lined up for today, other than this spooky voice I'm currently using. But I don't have anything spooky lined up, not today, but we will get back into our spooky segment. So this is technically episode 2, because I know I did a couple episodes before, but they were really bad quality, really hard to listen to. So this time around, I'm going to, start again, start fresh, and hopefully, yeah, this is a better run. So anyway, that was Strange Fruit, Earth Spinning by Zero, which is me, available on zerobookings.bandcamp.com. Please do check that out. I hope you enjoyed. But and I've got plenty more music on there, so feel free to check it out. But yeah, so moving on, we're going to start talking about Starfield, which I've already searched on here. Starfield, 7 out of 10 on Steam. I don't even need to say any more than that. 7 out of 10 is 7 out of 10. I think that's what the game is. If the first playthrough was mind-blowing, I'd have given it a 9 out of 10. But unfortunately, the replayability and some of the problems with the main story and the main playthrough, it just wasn't good enough. There's a lot of things missing. There's no settlement building system, which I think this game desperately needed. The factions are weak. There's really no inter-faction play going on. A lot of it's very forced. It's a very forced game. A lot of stuff's just forced onto you. It's kind of like, I don't know. The replayability is not there, and I think that's the biggest killer for it, for a Bethesda game. I love Bethesda games. I've been playing Bethesda games since back when, and I love Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 3, New Vegas 4, some of the even stuff in between then, all the DLCs. Definitely rinsed out my fair share of Bethesda games. And I have to say, out of all the ones I've played, this one has to be the biggest disappointment. It's just lacking in every way. I still go back and play Oblivion. I'm waiting for the Morrow Oblivion and Morrow Skyrim or whatever they're called. I'm waiting for all those to come out because I want to replay all those games on a new engine. So, I am a huge Bethesda fan and I'm very disappointed. Just like I was with Fallout 76, I'm disappointed for pretty much the same reasons here. It's just got no soul. It's a soulless game. I'm not really sure what they were even trying to do. It's very, just like the style of the game, it's got that NASA punk cobbled together look. This game feels and very much looks cobbled together. Now, I have a theory, my own personal half-baked take on why that is. I reckon this is to do with the Microsoft buyout and them having to rush the game out. Unfortunately, it's resulted in a cobbled together, not so good game, and I think that's just the reality of what happened here. It's a shame because I wanted it to be good. I wanted to like this game, but the lack of settlement building, the lack of being able to sort of have any kind of greater sense of exploration or even settling these systems just felt like it just wasn't there, and there's very little reason to explore the planets without that. It's all well and good building an outpost, but what's the point of the outpost? Yeah, alright, then it can collect resources and minerals, but for what? To build another outpost that doesn't connect back to the original outpost and doesn't have any settlers living in it? What's the point? I don't have to worry about food supplies, I don't have to worry about water, I don't have to worry about how to keep my settlements alive, defend them. It's just, without that, there's just nothing to it. So, I gotta give it a low score. 7 out of 10 seems fair. Maybe even a 6 out of 10 for replayability reasons, I don't know. It's not amazing. It's not where it should have been. When we hear Bethesda game in space, it should have been something very different. But it wasn't. And it's a shame. It's a shame, so... But what can you do? What can you do? This is the gaming industry, and this is where we are now. Games are out at a deadline. they've got budgets and they're out at a deadline and they can't go over budget and they can't breach the deadline. And this is what happens when a game isn't finished but still has to be released by its deadline. You get a game that just is cobbled together and just doesn't feel complete. But that's what the industry's full of. Cash grabs now. Get the game out, get the sales, worry about it all later, and that's just what the industry is. So we'll see what happens in the future development of this game. Give it time. Maybe they have got plans to improve it. Maybe they'll finish the game just like they have with other games. Now that it's out, we'll see. We'll see what kind of content drops, but I'm not too optimistic at this point. But time will tell. No Man's Sky came out and had nothing, absolutely nothing happening. And now, how all these years later, it's completely packed full of stuff to do. So maybe this game will have the same fate. Maybe they'll just fill it with content, and just make it bigger and better. But as it is right now, first playthrough is amazing just for the story alone. But it's got nothing on Skyrim, I have to say in hindsight. Yeah. But my first playthrough, I was pretty blown away by it, just for the marvel of it, because it is that NASA punk down to earth feeling thing coming from coming from Bethesda, and coming from BGS. It's like, okay, it's nice to have some kind of reality based game come from them because they usually do fantasy stuff. So it was interesting, but it just lacks in so many ways, just like Fallout 76 did. You can build a base in Fallout 76. Oh, am I doing this? Oh, I'm still doing this in the spooky voice. Hello, hello. Hello, is that better? Sorry, I was still using the spacey voice. I was meant to turn that off. I hope you can still understand what I was saying. Anyway, yeah. It's a game that's lacking. It's a game that is missing a lot of features, and it's obvious. And I just hope that it does get better with content drops. But just like Fallout 76 didn't get much better, I don't know if this game can improve. I was optimistic with the hype, now I'm pessimistic with the release. I'm pessimistic about the whole thing. I don't know what happens. I guess only time will tell. It's a shame. I wanted to love it. I wanted it to be amazing, but unfortunately, it's mid. But that's the video game industry right now. That's my whole review for the video game industry. It's mid. Absolutely mid. But never mind. So moving on, I wanted to talk about. Wow, this led me down a rabbit hole, didn't it? I only clicked one image. That's wanted a big picture. Took me all the way to the BBC. Alright, that'll do. That's wanted a nice background picture for a moment. So the subject I really wanted to talk about today was psychedelics. And the psychedelics in video games go hand in hand. I'm just joking. They can go hand in hand depending on how you use them, but no, that's just silliness. No, psychedelics. What are psychedelics? Well, we all know what psychedelics are if we're listening to this because, well, let's face it. No, that didn't make sense. No, that didn't make any sense. No, you might not have taken psychedelics. You should take some psychedelics, you. Go take some psychedelics. Good for you. Nah, I'm joking. Joking. No, psychedelics are psychoactive substances that cause a person to experience a hallucinogenic trip, right? In fact, I've got the psychedelic page on Wikipedia open. I've got psychedelic art. Psychedelia. Psychedelic drugs. Let's go look at the Wikipedia page. Psychedelics are a subclass of hallucinogenic drugs whose primary effects trigger a non-ordinary mental state known as psychedelic experiences or trips and an apparent expansion of consciousness. So that's the Wikipedia page. Expansion of consciousness and having an experience outside what is basically considered a normal experience, right? Now, assuming we do know what psychedelics are, we know the different psychedelics. We have mushrooms, acid, we have dimethyltryptamine, we have salvia, we have weed is a psychedelic. There's all kinds of other, like, is it 25I, and a bunch of other synthetic drugs, and there's all sorts out there. But the main ones that people tend to refer to are acid mushrooms, weed, DMT, and salvia. Those are kind of the mainstream psychedelics. And yeah, they have a profound effect on a person's perception of reality. They can really alter how one perceives the world around them. I have taken many psychedelics. I've taken pretty much all of the main ones. Some I've taken more than others. I've taken a lot of acid. I've only tried mushrooms a few times. Um, DMT I've only tried a few times, but salvia I tried quite a few times. So I've kind of been all over the place. Weed I smoke all the time. So I do, I know some things about a trip. I might not be your top level guy out in the woods doing ayahuasca, but if I could, I probably would. I have tried ayahuasca as well in the drink form. Um, yeah, definitely had my share of psychedelic experiences. That's why I'm such a spooky person. I'm just joking. No, seriously though, I wanted to talk about just some of the experiences I've had with them, and just because I wanted to link this to the spiritual stuff next, because I think this is an important detail about psychedelics. So, one of the things you'll experience when you take a psychedelic is, well, apart from weed, well, the stronger stuff with the LSD, the mushrooms, the DMT, the salvia, there's a feeling of leaving the earth and not being able to come back. Right? There's very much a strong feeling of this. Whatever's going on with me in this trip is the end all be all to what I'm experiencing. That's how it was for me anyway. There's a strong sense of I can't go back to my reality. And how I effectively transcribe this, and I think this might be something Terence McKenna mentioned, is this idea of having to accept death. Taking a psychedelic is a lot like having a life-ending experience, and not because you die, not because you stop breathing, not because you black out, but more because you have to accept that whatever reality you were in before, like your normal reality watching TV, is gone and isn't coming back, and you have to accept that as part of the experience. And I can't really express how intense that is, but you really truly do believe you can't go back to your normal reality, and it's pretty terrifying. So one of the trips I had was a salvia trip. Basically, I smoked a salvia, fell back into my chair, and everything started flashing. And then there was this pulsing, flashing light, right? And it was like, whoom, whoom, just like this light pulsing past me, right? And I open my eyes and I'm looking around, and I'm in this like huge open space. I can't describe the space. It was just like a big empty open space, and I was a part of this long chain of like people, right? And they were all kind of stuck like on like a conveyor, and we couldn't move. All we could do was kind of shake on the spot, and this light would just blast through us, just in this pulsing motion, just like a whoom, whoom, whoom. And as this light would pass over you, you would move with the light forwards down the chain, and then you'd stop, kind of go back a bit, and then the light would come and propel you forwards again, and it was just this constant pulsing. Now I was terrified because as I'm looking around, I look and this chain of people just seemed to coil off into infinity in this void around me. It was all grey, and I could hear this strange noise, and it was like a mwah, 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 coming from like different directions. And I'm like, what's that noise? What's that noise? And I tried to shout for help, and I'm like, help, help. And I realized I'm making that noise, mwah, mwah. And that's when I realized all the noises I'm hearing around me are people trying to yell for help. And we're stuck on this horrible conveyor belt thing with this light just pulsing and pulling us forwards, pulling us forwards. Boom, boom. And I can't move a muscle. I'm locked in the spot, and I was like, what is going on? This is it. This is forever, is what I just kept thinking. Like, I'm stuck here forever. I can't go back. And I just tried desperately to, because I can't explain it, but when I came into this world, this weird realm, I fell to my left, and I was in this chain thing. So I tried to push back to the right to get back into my normal reality, and I was pushing so hard, and then eventually I fell through, and I was back in my chair, back awake to where I was. But just that whole experience was just mind blowing, because I'd never seen. This is what's hard to convey about psychedelics. I'd never seen anything like that in my entire existence. My eyes were seeing this huge void with this huge chain, and I was there. and it was like I could never go back to my world. This was my new reality, and it's like, even though that experience was terrifying, it gave me this sense of like, oh wow, I just experienced like an alternate existence. I just experienced something that I never ever thought would ever be a real thing, and it's real. I just really experienced that. It was like I was part of a synapse or something, and as the electricity pulsed through the synapse, I would light up and move, and then the electricity would do somewhere else, and then it would pulse back. Or that's how I look at it now. It was really crazy, but it was just like so intense and terrifying, and it was just from smoking a plant, and it was just taught me so much about reality. I had to accept that I couldn't go back. I had to realize like this could be it forever. It was just really heavy, And that's just generally the experience. Sorry, I'm smoking a cigarette. Also, I don't know if I can talk about the reefer on YouTube, so I'm smoking a cigarette. Um, but yeah, you know, and that was just one of my trips on Salvia. It was fun. That's fun to relive it. I had a few more trips that were really crazy. So in one trip, I obviously inhaled the salvia, sat back in my chair, and I looked to my left, and I was sat next to my friend, and he looked like half a person. And when I say half a person, I mean a person who's been split down the half, and then you can see the inside of them. But he had a face on the inside of him, and he was like, "Hi, it's me, your friend. Um, I hope you're ready because this is going to be crazy," he basically said. I was like, "Oh shit, here we go." And I was like, "Okay, I'm ready." And I sat down next to him, and my friend was like, "What the hell are you doing?" I sat next to him. I kind of got really close to him. I said, "Okay, I'm ready to go." And then everything kind of went black. And like an old TV where it goes to a pinpoint? It went to a pinpoint, and then I zoomed out. It was like everything zoomed out, and I could see all these different screens. And I understood that these different screens were like different people's realities, and everyone's got their own reality going on. And as I zoomed out, all the screens made the shape of a human silhouette. And as I started to raise up towards the head of the silhouette, and it was like it was telling me, "You're ascending. This is the ascension. We're all part of one being, and you ascend into just one being." And again, it was really, really holistic and really wild. And as I zoomed into the head of the person, I kind of came to. But when I came to, all my friends, because I was in a room full of friends, they actually recorded this, but I never managed to recover the recording. If I can get that recording in some magical way, that'd be amazing. But I doubt I can recover that because that friend's in jail. So probably not got much chance of getting that back. But yeah, um, it just looked like everyone was frozen. It looked like time was frozen. And I got up and I walked over to my friends and I was trying to move them like, "Hello, hello." And then eventually they started talking and it was all just back to normal again. And it was just really surreal. And that was another one of my trips on Salvia, actually, which I found Salvia to be the most intense for a lot of reasons. Uh, yeah. So that's just some of my experiences. I also done acid. The craziest trip I had on acid was I was living in this flat, and I was with my then girlfriend, and we both took it. And first of all, it was actually, yeah, no, that's probably I'll go with that story. I've got a few acid stories, but I'll go with this one. So we took it, and we had this joint experience. Uh, we were vibing, and we had this sense that we were in a garden, and we realized that the earth is just one big garden. Um, we look at the earth as some kind of something, but it's just a big garden. It's just trees and birds and I mean, well, not plants, like little critters, little animals, and it's just like it's just a big garden. And we just had that, and then suddenly it got really dark, and it was like all these demons started coming up, and it was like, oh, all this dark stuff's going on in the world, and everyone's under this control, this dark energy, and we have a task as people to try and fight that dark energy and light people up and bring light into the world, and it was all really spiritual. And we had like a visual of these people, and they were like really upset, and they were fighting with each other, and we pictured ourselves turning this light on inside of them, and they stopped fighting and hugged each other, and it was really special. And then we kind of, I mean, trips go on for hours. They go on for like 14 hours when you're on acid. And that was like the whole night. We had a dark moment with something we perceived as Satan appeared. I was in another room and the wall started shaking and his face started appearing. But then I hear my then girlfriend scream. So I run in and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, I just saw the devil. He tried to tell me to jump out the window. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, what you talking about? She's like, it was a big face on the wall. And I was like, no way, I just saw a big face. And she's like, yeah, he tried to tell me to jump, but I wouldn't listen to it because I knew it was lying to me. And I was like, good, good. And it was really intense. But she just screamed and I just ran. And yeah, pretty crazy stuff. I guess that's why people say it can be dangerous, but I like what Bill Hicks said. A person who's going to jump out of a window to see if they can fly and didn't check first and didn't test it out is probably not the brightest of people. I think most people, even if they're on a psychedelic, will check if they can fly before they jump out a window. But, you know, some people don't, and unfortunately accidents happen. And that's terrible. But, you know, that's just how people are. Yeah, so those are my psychedelic experiences. Sorry, I'm just drinking my beer and eating food on the mic. Don't worry about it. I'm sure you wanted to hear that. I'm sure you enjoyed that. Yeah, pretty intense stuff. Now, to link this to spirituality, I do think there is a strong link between spiritual and psychedelics, mainly because of that thing that I mentioned where you have to accept that you're no longer perceiving your normal reality. You're now in another reality. Perceiving something that is outside of what you've ever perceived before. You're seeing colours, you're seeing shapes, you're seeing things you've just never seen before. And you have to accept, like I say, that you can't go back to go forward in the trip kind of thing. A lot of bad trips happen because people struggle to accept that aspect. So a lot of bad trips do happen. So spirituality for me is an interesting subject because what is spirituality? Most people think about religion, they think about the idea of God and creation and all this stuff, right? But for me, spirituality has always been hand in hand with what science is, and that is, you know, the understanding of the nature of reality. I think they go hand in hand every step of the way. And I think a lot of science is leading to spiritual answers, but not in the way people think, not leading to God necessarily, not leading to creation, but just leading to this idea that, look, we popped up out of fucking nowhere and we don't really know what's going on and we're just trying our best to make it as pleasant for each other as we can, or that should be what we're doing. And it's just this idea that even science is saying, look, when we get down to a particle level, it just starts getting crazy and weird and we don't really understand what the heck's going on. And it's just, you know, I think science and spirituality are a lot closer connected than people think. But it's all tainted by religion, because when you go into religion, you're getting into specifics about something that we can't explain. It's all well and good saying there's a spiritual essence to everything. It's another thing when you start trying to say, and this essence is this, and this essence is that, because it's like nobody alive knows. And there's no way for them to know other than through science. So if you're shunning science, then you're shunning the whole point of trying to understand the nature of our reality. And I just think that's just silly, as you would imagine. So for me, spirituality and science definitely go hand in hand. Um, yeah, and that's really all I have to say on this subject. This is a short episode, but until I get my spooky segment sorted out, it's really all there is to it. You know, my experiences have taught me a lot. They showed me a lot of insight about how the nature of reality works, and it's just like, whew, you know, it's a lot. There's a lot going on. But we'll get into deeper stuff next time. I don't want to dwell on this too long. I just wanted to sort of give more insight into who I am and the way I think and view things, the kind of experiences I've had. I've had many more experiences, but I don't want to get into all of them right now. But it's been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Sorry it's so short today, but I hope you enjoyed anyway. I'll tell you what, instead of leaving this on a sad note, I'm going to play you out with a song. Let's go find a good one. We're going to play you out. It's been a pleasure. I'm SpookyLith. And I hope you enjoyed the show.
Yo, 1 2 1 2. Yo yo yo, check check check. What it meant to you, it meant the same to me. They say you don't know what you have until it leaves. Well, I know it well, better than I ever could. More than I ever bargained for. What you wildin' for? What it meant to you, it meant the same to me. They say you don't know what you have until it leaves. Well, I know it well, better than I ever could. More than I ever bargained for. What you wildin' for? A bitter bargain, a sultry deal. You look good, but I wonder how you feel. Do you enjoy the fake shit, or are you searching for something real? I can only wonder from a distance. I always felt like something in this life was missing. Like we were held back against our will from seeing what's really out there. I feel like this life is really just a game, but these people are all caught up all the same. What it meant to you, it meant the same to me. They say you don't know what you have until it leaves. Well, I know it well, better than I ever could. More than I ever bargained for. What you wildin' for? If I could ask again, I would. What you seeking? Maybe I can take you there. I see them looking, but they don't care. Just looking from a distance. Guess we're searching for the same thing, to find whatever's missing. I hope we make it. I really hope we do. But I only want to make it if you do too. I really hope we make it, but only if we both make it. What it meant to you, it meant the same to me. They say you don't know what you have until it leaves. Well, I know it well, better than I ever could. More than I ever bargained for. What you wildin' for? What you thinking about, it's written all over your face. Like I couldn't read you better. You feel the same thing I do, the weight of the world. This is about more than some girl. I don't ever wanna beef with you again. What it meant to you, it meant the same to me. They say you don't know what you have until it leaves. Well, I know it well, better than I ever could. More than I ever bargained for. What you wildin' for? What it meant to you, it meant the same to me. They say you don't know what you have until it leaves. Well, I know it well, better than I ever could. More than I ever bargained for. What you wildin' for?